You don't remember the exact moment your life stopped feeling like yours. Maybe it was the morning you checked your bank account and felt nothing. Not panic. Not sadness. Just this quiet, hollow acceptance that this was it. The apartment with the water stain on the ceiling. The job that paid just enough to keep you from leaving. The friendships that felt more like habits than choices. You were 23. Or 26. It doesn't matter. You were the age where you're supposed to have figured something out by now, and you hadn't. Then the letter arrived. No return address. Thick cream paper that felt expensive just to touch. Your name written in ink so precise it almost looked printed. Inside, one sentence. Asterisk, you have been observed. You have been selected. Come if you're ready to stop pretending. Asterisk. You told yourself it was a joke. You laughed, actually. Set it on the counter. Made coffee. Came back to it 3 times in an hour. Because that last line. Stop pretending. It knew something. Not your address. Not your name. Something deeper. That quiet performance you ran every single day, the smiling, the fine, the I'm figuring it out, someone had watched it and seen through every layer. You should have thrown it away. You didn't. The address on the second letter brought you to a building that had no reason to exist where it did. No sign. No buzzer. Just a black door on a street you'd walked past 100 times without ever really seeing. That's the thing about hidden worlds. They don't hide underground or behind waterfalls. They hide inside your blind spots. Right where your eyes always forgot to look. A man opened the door before you knocked. He was calm in a way that felt practiced. Not friendly. Not threatening. Just absolutely certain that you would come. That certainty unsettled you more than anything else. You're earlier than most, he said. That means something. You stepped inside. The room was not what you expected. No robes. No candles. No theater. Just a long table, 6 people in expensive quiet clothes, and a single empty chair that was clearly meant for you. They asked you 3 questions. You don't remember the first 2. But the third one stayed with you for years afterward. Asterisk, what would you be willing to become? Asterisk. You said you didn't understand the question. One woman at the end of the table smiled like that was exactly the right answer. They told you nothing that night. No names. No explanations. Just a card with a time, and one instruction. Asterisk, tell no one you were here. Asterisk. You nodded. And just like that, the door opened from the inside. The first few weeks felt like being initiated into a language no one had told you existed. There were rules. Not written down anywhere. Never spoken directly. You learned them the way you learn not to touch a hot stove, through the quiet, humiliating burn of getting it wrong. You spoke when you shouldn't have. You asked a question that made 3 people go very still. You wore the wrong thing to a dinner that looked casual but wasn't. Nobody corrected you loudly. That was the cruelest part. They just watched. And adjusted how much they trusted you based on how fast you figured it out yourself. Marcus was the one who finally explained it to you. Quietly. In a parking garage at 11 at night, like the conversation could never be allowed inside a real room. They're not teaching you, he said. They're filtering you. Every mistake is a test. Every silence is a verdict. You asked him how long before they trusted you completely. He looked at you like you just said something deeply naive. They don't trust anyone completely, he said. That's how they stay alive. But slowly, something shifted. You started getting invited into smaller rooms. Conversations that stopped when outsiders walked and resumed when you arrived. Someone handed you an envelope once without explanation and you understood instinctively, don't open it here, "Don't ask what's inside, just deliver it." You did. And it felt like the most alive you'd been in years. That feeling should have scared you. It didn't. You noticed the change in yourself the way you notice winter arriving. Not a single moment. Just one morning where you breathe out and finally see the cold. It was the night they asked you to do something you would have refused a year ago. Not violent. Not illegal. At least not technically. Just a conversation you were supposed to have with someone who trusted you. Words arranged in a specific order to move them in a specific direction without them ever knowing they'd been moved. Manipulation dressed up as friendship. And you did it. Smoothly. Naturally. Like you'd always known how. Afterward you sat in your car and waited to feel something. Guilt. Shame. That old version of you rising up in protest. Nothing came. That was the moment. That silence inside your chest where a reaction should have lived. They gave you more after that. A seat at meetings that shaped things you used to only read about. Money that arrived without invoices. Access to rooms where the real decisions happened before the public ones were announced. You had become exactly what that first letter promised. Someone who mattered. But the person who had stood in that ordinary apartment staring at cream paper with shaking hands, that person was gone. No funeral. No farewell. Just quietly replaced by someone colder, sharper, and completely alone in a way that success somehow made worse. You had everything now. And you couldn't remember what you'd wanted it for.